everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the show, All Day Edify. I'm Corey, this is my wife, Tasha, and we're your hosts.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. Today's show is going to be really great. I mean, personally, I think today's topic might be one of my all-time favorites. Our topic today is exercising your influence.
Yes. And I specifically recall how passionate you were when we began discussing this topic. We know that the overall aspect of the word that we want to use here today, influence, is described in Webster Merriam's dictionary as the power to change or affect someone or something. And it goes on to give another explanation to say it's the power to cause changes without directly forcing them to happen. That's influence.
Absolutely. And so, not all women feel confident, in the way that they are. And so being influenced by any other, female is, really powerful. And so, as we were putting this show together, I had ran across an article that was published by a student in 2016, and they go to Duke University. And so basically this actual study was from the Dove Global Beauty and Confidence Report. And it says that regardless of age or location, 50% of the women surveyed had low self-esteem. And that was a big drop from 2010 when Dove reported that 85% of women surveyed felt confident in their own beauty. And then 50 and 70% of girls in the age range of 10 to 17 years of age, and 85% of women age 18 to 64, they opted out of important life events because they felt uncomfortable with the way that they look. And then 69% of women and 65% of girls, they cited increasing pressures from advertising and media as a major contributor to their appearance anxiety. I just really felt that was just really, interesting.
Yes, very powerful stuff. And as you said, it's by a student at Duke University, but we're talking about over 10,000 people were included in that research over 13 countries. And so I think this is going to be a very good show for men as well. I'm sure that throughout the show, some men may be able to take some of the nuggets that our guest shares with us and that we're discussing and be able to apply that themselves, and also to potentially be able to build up or encourage or even just be able to better understand how to deal with some of the things that women who are struggling in these areas, looking for some influence, how they wrestle with these things. That could be women in your family, your spouse, or siblings. And so we'll be able to discuss some of that today.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, babe. And so today we have a guest with us. Not only has she authored 2 books, but she has over 20 plus years of beauty industry experience, which makes it very, very powerful and impactful. She makes it a point to encourage and build up women that she comes in contact with. So we would like to welcome Robin Lynn to the show.
Hi.
Hi, Robin.
Hey, Robin, how you doing today?
I was well. I'm
good.
One day at a time. I'm here.
Good. Great to have you on the show with us today.
Yeah,
and we know who you are, but could you please introduce yourself to our audience, some of our viewers, and tell them a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. My name is Robin Lynn. First of all, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm so excited to be here on your show. I think this is amazing what you guys are doing. But let me just go quickly and introduce myself, and then we'll get back to that. But my name is Robin Lynn, and I am a licensed cosmetologist in the state of Michigan. And I am a Bible teacher and music ministry leader. And I am a future educator, as I have begun a new path to add on to what I've been doing all of this time. And going back to school. I'm going back to school to become an educator. In addition to that, I spent 20 years in behavioral health as an administrative professional. So I'm trying to combine all three of those things together. I believe God's going to do something amazing with that.
One of the things that, when we opened up the show, we talked about the Dove Global Beauty and Confidence Report. And that report showed that in 2016, 50% of the women surveyed admitted that they have low self-esteem, while in 2010, 85%, they said they felt confident about their own beauty. What factors do you think took place between 2010 and 2016 to impact that data?
Between 2016 and 2010, I think what has greatly impacted it is just the progression of social media. I think that people have more access the more the time is passing. I think that, because we have, a quicker access to information, and because we have just a more expansive ability to be able to share information and to just be available to people, I think that it's been amazing, but it's been dangerous a bit to people's confidence. Just that type of exposure and that availability and that ability to be able to share so quickly, it causes you to make a lot of comparisons, which is really, I believe, the root of lack of confidence. I think it's what causes insecurities. Of course, there are more foundational things, but I think that's one of the things that has changed the numbers and impacted, whether they go up or down. It's just the access. It's the social media, the world as we know it is changing and evolving, and people can share whatever they want to share and be whoever they want to be.
One of the things that I like about having you on for this particular topic is I know that example being you have an impact on and able to influence even my teenage daughter in the brief time that you had interaction with her. And I know that that's sometimes that can be challenging to do, to have that kind of range where you're able to influence people that may be in a middle age as well as impacting teens at the same time. So I think you're effective at that. I know that when my wife was introducing you, she mentioned that you make it a point to encourage and build up women that you come in contact with. Okay, so why does supporting or providing support and encouragement to women you come in contact with, why does that mean so much to you?
Well, first, let me just say your daughter's amazing. Okay, so that's foundational. When you have a person who's already, kind of just going a certain direction, it's very easy to be influential in that life. And it's important to me because, one, because, and I don't want to over spiritualize, but this is who I am as a person. I'm saved and I love the Lord and He saved me. And so this is my. He shows up in everything I say. So, so primarily, I think it's my assignment. I think it's all of our assignment in the world to care about somebody else other than ourselves. I think we just have to move beyond what's, primary for us and think about how things are impacting other people. But I also realize that is a gift that God gives to people to be able to impact people in that way. And so it has become so important to me because, and here's the second reason, is because I actually struggled, with insecurity coming up and just have learned so much about it. I've seen the impact of it in my own life. I've seen the impact of it in the lives of my family members and my friends and the people who raised me. And I've seen these deficits, and I had to do a lot of work to, to find my own balance, to understand, who I was. And I just realized that, there are some very key and foundational things that need to happen to help people along the way. And I'm passionate about it because I've seen the impacts of it. I've felt it. I've experienced it. I've overcome it. Thank the Lord Jesus Christ. And I just know how important it is.
So I think that that's wonderful. And so for women who are struggling with their confidence levels, when do you believe is the most critical time to initiate that impactful change in that area?
Uh, I would say, as you know, as a child, it's at a young age, because children, statistically, develop what they believe, what they feel, what's going to happen, what they think about themselves before age 8. By the time they get to age 8, they already believe what they believe about themselves, and that speaks volumes
Yes.
to what people become. And and then you have to like work harder to try to figure out how to access something that is a built-in system. A person has built this system in their heart and their spirits about themselves for 8 years, and then after 8 years you're building your life on top of that. You know what I'm saying? And so everything you do is from that perspective. And so it's just very important to do it earlier. So I would think the win would be then. But now, in terms of just meeting a person, not the larger scope, but just maybe like a person coming in to sit in my chair and get their hair done, or a person that I meet on the street or something like that.
Right.
A good time is immediately.
We just recently did a series dealing with mindset change for men. And we prefaced that by starting off talking about how important it is for young men and young women, young people, to be impacted initially during their childhood. But when they miss out on that, then all of a sudden they reach adulthood, and now it's time for a mindset change, and they have to kind of basically rethink everything that they've already been programmed or trained to think. And so I wanted to ask you this question. How do you go about encouraging men or women? Because again, you're able to influence people, both genders, male and female, right? And I'm not here just to be a fly on the wall while y'all talk about just women stuff, right? All right. So how do you take an aggressive approach to encouraging and influence a mindset change for creating a greater level of confidence and being more impactful for men and women that you come in contact with?
Man, that's a really good question. And the answer is that I'm aggressive outside of those spaces. I'm aggressive in my approach of, learning the information, learning the lessons I need to learn in my personal life, so that when I'm presented with the opportunity, is what I call it, to impact somebody or to influence someone or to say something or do something that's gonna help a person emotionally or psychologically, however I'm going to impact them, that I'm ready when I get to those moments. So I do a lot of introspection of myself, and then I study the statistics, and then therefore that gives me what I need to, when I get into those moments, I'm able to address what I need to address.
Wow. So out of, so when we're talking about confidence and exercising your influence, what are the 3 factors that you think play a role in a woman's confidence level?
Oh man, specifically for women, women are the most. Now, I'm not saying men don't have their own thing that they, that they examine about themselves. They think, that they can do better in. But women are so critical of themselves. I don't believe there's another creature in the earth that is so critical. I can't even think of another word, of themselves. Women, because they're so critical, I think that one of the 3 factors that play a role in our confidence level is our inability to deliver.
Okay.
When we don't make the marks that we make for ourselves, that affects our confidence immediately. Like it's like, oh my God, I didn't do it. And especially if you're a loving mom or you're a loving sister or friend or whoever, you just feel whatever it is that we do, in our different, in different ways, in our different positions in life, we are hard on ourselves. And so when we don't meet the mark, that affects our confidence. Another factor that affects confidence is our upbringing. I know we said it a couple of times, and we saw the statistics on Dove about how you know, a person's upbringing affects what they think about themselves, their confidence, their, you know, their security in themselves. And I think your upbringing affects, it's a direct factor in how your confidence level is going to come out. Do you have a two-parent home? Do you have a father that is saying I love you before another man tell you he love you? Do you have a mother that's saying, girl, you my friend, before you get another girlfriend? And then start having unhealthy relationships with women because you didn't have a good one with your mom. You get what I'm saying? And so all of these things, you know, that happen in your childhood, in your upbringing, in your environment is so important, and it affects your confidence. Confidence is the foundational thing you need to have to do anything in your life. A lack of confidence will cause you to sit in fear. You won't do all of the things that's inside of us. Some people have imaginations bigger than the people who are out front. They have so much inside of them, but they never do it because they don't have the confidence. Now, I know you asked me for 3, but can I add a 4th?
Go ahead.
The last one I want to say is just your physical appearance, man. Like if your hair, you know, and I don't know if that's just because I'm in the beauty industry and I think that's important to me. Of course, the inside work is definitely foundational. But if your hair ain't done and your hair you can't got no haircut, you know, and you looking all raggedy and that type of stuff, right, it affects your confidence. You know, now a person who's confident, obviously, you know, that don't matter. But I'm just saying that does affect the way, you know, how it will turn out as an adult. I think it's negative or positive, more like just from your childhood or whatever, and it's kind of attached to that second factor that I mentioned. But generally speaking, at any age, your presentation is everything. Like you need to come up. Yeah. You know.
No, I agree. I think that's transferable to the males as well. So thank you for that nugget, because I think we can agree that we care about how we look, and when we don't look right, we know it when we walk out the house. You know what I mean? And it impacts the way that we go about having a high level of confidence, or feeling as though we're in a position to have some positive influence on somebody else when we don't look like a mess, or we don't look tacky and raggedy and stuff. One thing that you missed is, and I'm wondering, right, how much in your mind do you believe, and I think you kind of answered it, but a person's attitude has on their ability to be influential? How much does a person's attitude play a role in their ability to be influential?
You know what? Actually, I think influence, I think the bigger thing is that influence it goes 2 ways. Like regardless of what your attitude is, if you're a person who is influential, you can either influence a person to do well, or you can influence a person to do terribly. So you either create a bunch of people who have promising futures and are wonderful, or you'll create a person who's awful, just like you.
Good point.
You know what I'm saying? Because influence, like you mentioned when y'all first opened up the show, influence is really just causing a change, right? Without having to force a change.
Yeah.
So my ability to influence someone has nothing to do with my attitude. It's just my ability to cause someone to do something different than they were doing before, without me forcing them, which means they have some level of trust in me. There's something about me that they like, that they attach to, or whatever in their mind, or that they identify with, that they can connect with and say, oh, I can trust that. I appreciate what she's saying. It's like you know how you go to meetings or whatever, and the speaker gets up and says these things. They always say, if they say something relatable, you're like, oh, I kind of like this one. And you can let your guards down, laugh a little bit or whatever. But now if I got dysfunction in me and you got a terrible attitude and it's working for you in leadership still, or you have some level of financial success and that's what I want, it gets distorted because I want the success part, and the attitude is not all of that, but maybe the attitude is what got you there. So maybe I should attach to that. And so you begin to influence me with your attitude, you know what I'm saying? Even having a bad attitude or a positive attitude. Now, I think, you know, but the way you influence someone, whether positively or negatively, that falls back on you. And I think we can stand and just understand that part of it so that we know, you know, attitude does in fact matter. It
Gotcha.
matters because not because of if influence will happen, but it matters because of the effects of the influence, how the person or how the people or how the spaces or, you know, whatever you involved in will turn out to be. You know what I mean? So it matters more for that purpose and not necessarily for the purpose of actually being successful with it, influencing somebody.
I know one thing that I did want to mention, I mentioned it when, you know, I was introducing you to the show, that you have authored 2 books. And so I did want to mention those. I didn't want to have you leave without us mentioning, you know, those 2 books. And so I do know that right here you have your first book was, you know, Become a Traveling Beauty Professional. And then you have Breaking into the Business. And so I know that, you know, I want you to kind of, you know, give us some background to our viewers, you know, but it's basically, you know, basically, like you said, what it's about, you know, what you're about, you're gifting, influencing, you know, others. And so if you can kind of, you know, give the audience, you know, an idea of, you know, what your books are about.
Yeah, I can. I'm happy to do it because you absolutely right. Even though I work in the beauty industry, as you can see, my conversation is not a lot about you know, the workings of the beauty industry. I'm usually always talking about the inner workings of a person, because I think beauty, the you know, beauty is from within. It's the way I was raised to believe, and I think it's so true. Um, and I wrote these books because I wanted to not just empower my clients, but these 2 books are specifically for people like myself, people who have dreams. They are written for people in the beauty industry, but they are applicable to anybody who wants to set up a business, who wants to, you know, get a starting point on doing something that's a passion, you know, of theirs. And so I wrote these books from that perspective. Book the Becoming a Traveling Beauty Professional came because I was traveling. I was a traveling beauty professional. I had 2 locations. I worked here in Detroit and I worked in Texas, and I traveled back and forth in Houston. And so I did that for a while, and it was quick. It was easy. Everything I did, it was like, you know, oh, hey, can you do this? I'm like, sure. And then I would just excel at it out of nowhere. I would be surprised myself, like, wow, all of a sudden I'm doing this, right? And so I was like, I got to put this down. I got to write this down. And so I just wrote some tips on how to get started, how to set up your business, how to, you know, how to be engaging, and how to get, you know, to encourage people to want to come to see you, because there's so many other beauty professionals out. You know, it's really a skill. And then I thought about, like, you know, people who were just, you know, maybe just getting started, you know, in their career. They don't really know which direction to go. They want to do something amazing, because it is amazing. I ain't gonna lie. It is amazing. It's great. It's high paced. It's energy. It's confidence building. It is everything, right? And people want to get into that business, and I was like, I need to teach people how to do that. And so I wrote another book, some tips on how to just get started, how to get your foot in the door, what you need to be doing now before things like getting your license. It's a lot of stylists out here who are just, y'all, they just doing hair. They ain't got no paper, you know. And I did that for a while myself.
Right.
You know, I ain't had no problems out there braiding hair. You know, my mother, my business name is Arlene and Company. I named it that because my mother taught me how to braid. And so I'd be out there braiding. She put me a salon in the basement. I was getting it in. And then, but I worked for years without a license, no accountability, no commitment, no discipline. I didn't have the things that I needed foundationally to run a business. I just had a gift.
Mhm.
But I had to learn how to hone in and get focused, on doing things that are necessary business wise,
Mhm.
having my papers in order, creating outlines and goals, and all of this type of stuff. That stuff is important, and it matters when a person comes in they know the difference when they sit in your chair.
Yeah.
And you done spend time on customer service, and you done spend time talking to your colleagues or your team members or whoever you create to say, this is what we doing, what you think, what you feel, and all of that type of stuff. So yes, I want to help people break into business, bust that window out and come
Yeah.
on in, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
bring
yeah.
people into a space that they want to be in, serve people.
We thank you for coming on and sharing so many different nuggets with us, and sharing so much with our viewers, And so, again, we thank you, Robin, for joining us, babe. Did you have anything?
No, I did. I mean, all of that information is good. And I know I love this topic, and it could just go so many different ways. And so, Robin, I just want to thank you so much for coming on to the show and, sharing, everything that you had to share with our viewers. It was such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, good to have you.
Thank you so much. I love y'all. Y'all amazing.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. All right. Wow, that was great. So again, we were able to get some, some nuggets that I think is beneficial for men too, because again, at the end of the day, I'm like, what you got for the brothers? Now you got to share some with the brothers. It can't just be about y'all. And so there were some transferable things that I think can be really beneficial. And she talking about the content of her book that men would be able to apply as well, starting off your own business, thinking outside the box and expanding your business beyond just functioning in one area and being open-minded to being able to do those things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so we're running out of time here. And so, here at AllDay Edify, we want to thank you guys for joining us on today, where our aim is to uplift, inform, and enlighten you.
All day, every day.
Do you provide human services? Are you an entrepreneur that contributes to society? Do you have access to tools and resources that facilitate growth and development? Come be a guest on our show. You can email us at alldayedify@gmail.com or send us a message on our Facebook page at AllDay Edify.
A new way to watch TV on the web and on Roku, the High Dimension Network. Check us out on the web at www.highdimension.tv. That's highdimension.tv on the web. And search us under High Dimension Networks on Roku. Yes, we're on the web and Roku, and we're bringing music, news, fashion, culture, and lifestyle. The lineup, that's my jam. Top 10 from the streets, and we know sports. New to the game, legends in music, and so much more. It's about time. Something new in TV. Brand new flavor on the web and on Roku. High Dimension Network. Check us out on the web at www.highdimension.tv. That's highdimension.tv on the web. And search us under High Dimension Networks on Roku. Yes, we're on the web and Roku. High Dimension Networks. That's highdimension.tv. A new TV channel, Sundial Networks, showcasing urban culture, music, lifestyle, fashion, talk shows, comedy, movies, and more. TV lineups, slow jams, game of life, Sundial Soul, live from the Smokehouse, The Battle, New versus Old, 60s and 70s Time Machine, all that jazz. And on Sundays, special programming with religious roots, gospel soul, R&B classic gospel. You can find us on the web and on most smart TVs at www.sundial.tv. That's sundial.tv. And on Roku. Yes, Roku. Free. No subscription needed. Search for us under Sundial Networks. That's Sundial Networks. Sundial Networks.